AMD launches the 7500 X3D. You can get the Windows full screen experience on non-Xbox handhelds, and Steam Valve can count to 3. They just launched 3 new products. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Thursday, November 13th, 2025. As a reminder, we do have those PC giveaways going on tomorrow over on our Twitch streams. 3 p.m. South African Standard Time is when we're gonna draw the winners for the RTX 1590 gaming PC on UFD Tech and the 5070 Ti gaming PC over on UFD Music, with new giveaways starting immediately afterwards. So let's go ahead and jump on into what's not going to be in either of those PCs, the 7500 X3D, because that just got announced yesterday, with AMD officially unveiling that this thing's going to cost $269, and it's faster than Intel's products. Who would have guessed? Faster than the Core Ultra 5 245KF by 22% in competitive gaming, 13% in AAA gaming. It's faster than the 14600K by 12% in competitive and 8% in AAA gaming. And if you want third-party reviews, it looks like they only kind of released it to Europe, so you can go check out if Video Cards has this roundup of reviews that are available. But 7500 X3D should be slightly more affordable. Currently, as far as I'm aware, the only US retailers that have this is Micro Center, and it's in a pre-built. It doesn't look like it's available as a DIY part currently just yet, but hopefully it will be sometime soon, making X3D slightly more affordable for the masses. But in case you're looking to build a PC with a new X3D chip, you could definitely check out powering it with today's video sponsor. Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a PC? CPU? GPU? Wrong. These things can't do nothing without good old electricity. Today's sponsor, Silverstone, has a line of PSUs perfect for juicing up your precious components. Silverstone Triton series was launched in July this year as a new line of gold efficiency rated ATX PSUs designed to meet the need for PC builders looking to get a solid power supply from a trusted name that's been selling power supplies for 2 decades. Recently, 3 more models were added: the Triton 650RZ, 750RZ, the model we have here, and 850RZ. The RZ signifies these as ATX 3.1 spec units with fully modular cables. They also all include a 450 watt 12 volt 2x6 cable to support most new mid-range GPUs, making them great choices for you if you're looking for a compact, easy to use, and quiet power supply for your next gaming or home PC. Grab yourself a Silverstone Triton Series PSU today via the links in the description below. Huge thanks to Silverstone for sponsoring. Well, while Silverstone makes a lot of sense for your money, it looks like because of the RAM shortage and everything that's going on there, other companies are warning you that your PCs may get more expensive sometime soon. Asus announcing that because of the rising RAM issue, there might be massive price hikes coming down the line, quoting that this is a common problem and that the distribution channel pricing, Asus is taking that into account, and there might be price hikes coming down the line sometime soon. So just to keep you a little aware of that situation, money likely to be higher on spent computers in the near future. And what was supposed to happen in the near future was a settlement between Epic and Google with regards to the lawsuit going on with Fortnite and Google taking too much money and needing third-party app stores and all that kind of stuff. And it turns out that the settlement that they wanted, the judge, a little skeptical, saying, why you guys suddenly BFFs? Specifically discussing that, hey, we can't actually necessarily approve this settlement because usually with that, there's things such as shifts in market conditions, company policy, or legislation that help to justify things like this settlement, but none of that happened here. It just seems like they decided to make good, but that's not what the lawsuit kind of addressed, and so it's not quite clear how this is going to play out with the judge's skepticism, and we'll keep you updated on whether or not this settlement goes through. And what's going through is the Xbox full screen experience on non-Xbox RG Ally devices. It was approved for the MSI Claw recently, but now there's a new single-click GitHub setup that allows you to actually have this on various different devices, not just other handhelds, but also other Windows 11 devices. So it's a one-click GUI that allows you to get rid of all of the background crap that's happening on Windows and just make it a purely gaming device. And you can check and see that it is available for things that are non-gaming handhelds. However, it might require a little bit more adjustment, such as changing how the screen looks, but they do have a lot of warnings that it's making some deep Windows modifications. There could be problems here. Please don't blame them. It's a big problem, but it is kind of a necessary thing for Windows because we're about to discuss everything that Valve is doing for gaming, and it is going to change the industry forever, in my opinion, but Reece is going to change your spending habits first with his deals.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And hey, here's your first deal. Starting off, we have this brick pattern acoustic wall panel with a 12-pack going for $15.49, with the coupon applied, making it half off. These aren't going to soundproof your room, but they will reduce early reflections. But then next up, we have the Razer Siren V3 Mini USB condensed microphone, available in black for $40.99, making it $19 off. And then lastly, we have this Corsair IQ 5000D, which is not the new frame 1000D, but it's still a great case for only $79.99, making it $140 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these
Stop it! Let me buy you new glasses!
Stop it!
Let me buy them for you!
Stop it. Bye.
Well, Reece, here's the deal with the Steam Deck 2. That was not announced by Valve yesterday, but they did discuss it a little bit, saying that there's just not enough performance out on the market right now for them to justify it. This is the same tune that they've been humming the entire time, that they want something that's beyond 50% more powerful before they even consider releasing a Steam Deck 2, but that's not with things like the Strix Halo that you would find in this tablet right here. It has to do a lot with whether or not it can deliver that performance at a 15-watt power profile, and we are nowhere near that. While the Strix Halo AI Max Plus 395 chip can deliver a lot more performance than what you get in the Steam Deck, it does it at 120 watts. So there has to be some more efficiency optimizations that have to be brought before Valve even considers a Steam Deck 2. But don't worry, they counted beyond 2 for the product announcements that they had yesterday. The hardware announcement launch over on YouTube. They have a whole video that you can watch in case you're interested. But 3 brand new devices being added to the Steam hardware lineup. You already have the Steam Deck, but now we get a new Steam controller, a new Steam machine, and the brand new Steam frame. So we're gonna go through all of these and discuss the various different benefits that they have and kind of talk about the implications that this has for gaming moving forward, because I think this is the start of Windows downfall, is everything that Valve is doing right here. So Steam controller number 1, Valve released this because they think that people use their Steam Deck a lot, and they wanted to create something that has a parity experience in a controller without you having to necessarily hackney a Steam Deck together, get rid of the screen, all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna come with a puck that allows you to get low latency wireless connection with whatever device you choose to hook it up with, but it also uses USB and Bluetooth. It's not limited to just using this wireless puck that also happens to charge the device, and it has magnetic thumbsticks, high definition rumble, grip enabled gyro, and it additionally has buttons on the back just like you would find on a Steam Deck, again trying to create parity with all of the various different aspects of a current Steam Deck. But the thing I'm most excited about, and probably what's going to help me replace my DualSense when it comes to gaming, 30+ hours of battery life. That is going to be incredible. They do say it's going to be a little bit reduced if you're using it for the Steam frame, which we'll talk about in a second, but it's going to last quite a long time. I'm very excited for that. And additionally, it has IR LEDs on it that help it to actually appear within the Steam frame in the VR setup. But again, Valve just saying that the reason they're doing this is they need a Steam controller that matches all the functionality that you get on the Steam Deck, and that is what you have here. And now what we have is the Steam frame, Valve's new VR headset, which is, again, I think gonna revolutionize gaming as much as the Steam Deck did in terms of the PC handheld space. This thing is supposed to be a standalone device, but not a replacement for the Valve Index. It can play both VR and non-VR games locally on the headset, but that is not why Valve developed it. They developed it mostly for streaming, whether that's from a high-powered PC, from your Steam Deck, or potentially even the new Steam machine. You're supposed to use things like this wireless adapter to give you low latency streaming, and they've even implemented foveated streaming rather than foveated rendering that allows you to look at where your pixels are supposed to be streamed, and then it's going to do that. It's going to give you high definition where you're looking and low definition where you're not, making it so that you get higher throughput on lower bandwidth, which is a pretty interesting development here. Additionally, they've got interesting developments on the rest of the hardware stack. You've got a good audio experience, which is something that the Valve Index was known for. You also have pancake lens at a 2160 by 2160 resolution, up to 144 hertz, and it's supposed to look slightly comfortable. It does only have the single band that we're finding on things like the original Vision Pro, the Samsung Galaxy XR. Whether or not this is comfortable, I've seen the reports of people who got to try it out. They say it's all right, and it's also coming with new controllers that are supposed to be identical to what you find on other VR controllers, except for with this person's demo hands. They look massive, except for I'm thinking that these are smaller hands. It's intriguing that they use that to show it off, but it does technically qualify as a PC according to Valve. It is running SteamOS, but As discussed in the leaks and rumors, it is running an ARM processor, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It can run games not just over streaming, but locally, both VR and non-VR games. Now, this will require game developers to actually support things like their translation layer for all of that, but they do have a dev kit for companies that actually want to engage in that. So the specifications on this seem pretty good. We don't have a price point for it, which is going to help to determine whether or not you're going to pick up something like a Quest 3 or this, but Valve has even thought about the people who want to use a Quest 3 and has implemented support in this thing that's going to help people transition over. So 16 gigabytes of unified memory, a 256 gig storage version, or a 1 terabyte storage version with microSD card slot for expanded storage. No quote on battery life, but a 21.6 watt hour lithium ion battery. However, there's kind of a few other interesting things. It has user accessible expansion ports, 2.5 gigabit per second ports that are Gen 4 PCI Express that the user will be able to access and could potentially add various different accessories, mouth tracking, color pass-through, hand tracking, various different things that Valve is trying to build out an ecosystem here for with the Steam frame that is kind of thoughtful. It's something that Valve is doing right here. However, they are no longer manufacturing the Index. The Steam frame is not supposed to be a replacement for the Index. It's something new altogether, which is why it's not called the Index 2, but the Index is now being discontinued. However, various different things such as eye tracking across other different VR headsets is also going to be supported on this when it comes to playing various different games that are supported for Steam VR, but now you can use on things like the Quest Pro. So Valve's saying that this is a streaming first headset. It's not quite super powerful. It does have a mobile chip in it, but it can play games natively, especially thanks to the fact that it has all of the software support of Valve. It runs Linux. It also is running on ARM, which means there has to be the Proton compatibility layer, and then there has to be the FEX, which is the translation from x86 to ARM, and it's going to be something that they're going to have a frame verified program moving forward. Again, pricing is going to dictate a lot here whether or not people are going to want to pick this up, but it will also have Android game support as well, supporting things like side-loading APKs, because that's something that the Meta Quest setup is built on, where you can use Android games on it, and that's something that Valve is implementing on the Steam frame as well. So this is something that's exciting for VR enthusiasts. I think the x86 ARM transition right here is pretty big, but Valve's starting it on a low volume device. It's not likely supposed to be the preeminent thing that's out there, but I think we could see things like a Steam Deck ARM version moving forward, SteamOS supporting ARM devices like NVIDIA's upcoming processors, like the Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite stuff. I am curious to really see where that goes, but Valve also announcing the Steam Machine, a pre-built device by the company that you play your video games on, and they want to make it so that it's just kind of a little box that you put in your living room. Kind of instead of docking a Steam Deck, you just plop this thing down. And if you look at this video, it has a magnetic front plate or transitional front plate, which they can put different aspects on. They had a wood version. They also had an e-ink prototype at one point in development that they're not going to be selling. It's not quite clear if they're going to sell these different faceplates or they're going to rely on third parties to actually sell this kind of stuff, but it will allow you to kind of fit it into the various different environments that you're placing it in. But obviously, you're going to want to know about what can it do. Well, number one, it can support the Steam controller right out of the box. You don't need to use the wireless puck. It has a pairing adapter for it specifically in it that can support up to 4 new Steam controllers, and it has a decent amount of I/O, making it slightly different than other consoles that are out on the market. You got multiple USB-A's on the front, micro SD card expansion. It also has a full-size support for M.2 SSDs. It's got USB ports on the back, but also it has Ethernet, which is normal, a single HDMI, which is also normal for consoles, but what isn't is that DisplayPort connection, which is kind of where it separates itself as a gaming PC. Now, in terms of the hardware, we've got a Zen 4 6-core 12-thread CPU that can support up to 30 watts TDP, and a semi-custom RDNA 3 GPU that has 28 compute units, 110 watts TDP, 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and it doesn't really have a comparison in the desktop scene. It's kind of like an RX 7400, but because it's semi-custom, it also has aspects of RDNA 3.5 built in, where it's slightly better at ray tracing, has better FSR support, so it's kind of a mixed bag of what Valve's doing here. They didn't take something off the market like a Strix Halo chip and just plop it in where you could get the 16 cores, 32 threads, and a 40 compute unit chip. They decided to go a really weird semi-custom route, I guess because of the partnership with AMD to do that. But obviously a lot of people's crankiness will come in the fact that it only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM at that GDDR6 and has 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which a lot of people are not gonna think is enough for the various different games that they're trying to play. But Valve is selling this as a 4K gaming capable machine. Obviously FSR is gonna play a big part in that, and they're gonna sell it in 2 different models with either 512 gigs of storage or 2 terabyte storage setup. You can add a micro SD card for expanded storage like you would find on the Steam Deck, but you can also change and swap out the SSD that's in this device. It'll have Wi-Fi 6E, as well as the display ports on the back for DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0, and it also has 17 individually addressable RGB LEDs for system status and customizability on the front, and the interior is basically all heatsink. This thing is essentially an Xbox Series X in terms of its interior setup, where it's just a massive fan and heatsink and then a tiny little PCB below that. But again, it's built on SteamOS, Valve saying that it's 6 times faster than a Steam Deck. And the whole reason they're making it so that it's just a little living room device that you have, but they also envision a future where SteamOS is just kind of plopped on all desktops. If you have a 9070 XT, they say that you would be good to go. This is the start of people who want to build their own rig, put SteamOS on it, all of that kind of stuff, just kind of developing the ecosystem behind it. And I think that this is probably going to bring a lot of people off of Windows onto Linux. Valve showing that they have hardware support. They're actually working on things like the Proton compatibility layer, the FEX x86 ARM transition layer. They are building out an entire ecosystem here where I think this is the start of things really changing in the gaming industry. Microsoft has their Xbox full screen experience that's not even officially supported on a whole bunch of devices and doesn't do a whole lot, but tries to make it a little bit more console-like. Valve really making it so that consoles are now going to also be PCs before companies like Xbox and all of them do it first. So the curious thing that obviously matters in a lot of this is, when are they releasing? What's the price point? 2026 to answer the release, no specific timeline, and no pricing mentioned, which is gonna determine a lot. A lot of people saying that the Steam machine shouldn't cost more than $400 because it's kind of like a PC version of an Xbox Series S. It's not super impressive in terms of its specs, so charging more than $400 for it would be a hard sell. Kind of curious where the price point comes in there. Steam frame, I think they could probably get away with between $300 and $500, which again is what I'm also hearing. The controller probably could go up to $100 because that's just how much gaming controllers cost these days. I want to see where all this plays out. I think this is the start of something exciting. I think Valve knocked it out of the park with all of these different devices. They could have made different choices when it came to things like the hardware and the Steam machine. I think they could have gone with something that's a bit more off the shelf like the AI Max Plus 395, but I'm sure they have the reasons for not doing that, and I'm more excited about the software side of things than I am about the hardware side of things, especially if SteamOS just becomes broadly compatible with regular gaming PC hardware. Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comments. That was a lot to get through, but it was a big announcement and a big day for PC gamers. And you guys had a day in the comments yesterday. Let's see what you had to say over there. We got Bloxy saying Half-Life 3 before GTA 6. Unfortunately not, no game announcements yesterday. That didn't happen, but saying like, seriously, if they're releasing it, it'll be one of the best ever. How could Steam learn to count to 3 before GTA 6 came out? Well, they did learn to count to 3. 3 different devices. And then James saying, didn't Reece have busted glasses a couple years ago when he was in the US for a while? Someone get that man some new spectacles. Those are the same glasses. They're the same glasses that I've been trying to buy new ones for him for a long time now, okay? This man will not let me buy him new glasses. I don't know his prescription. He won't tell me. I can't just force him to go to an optometrist. He's a menace to himself. And keep shaming him for his broken glasses. Eventually he'll give in. I think that's the right call. And then Thresh asking, chair name? This right here? Oh, this is the Fractal Refine, which I'm excited to say Fractal hooked up the entire South African office with brand new chairs, 6 new Fractal Refine chairs in both the light and dark colorway, in the mesh and the fabric setup. I've had this one for a while. Fractal provided it for Hot News, but then when they found out that we needed more chairs for the rest of the butts here for the UFD South African office, which has 6 other people in it, they provided chairs for everybody. So we're still working on trying to provide desks for everybody in the South African office, but if you want to come over to our Twitch stream, you can see the brand new Fractal Refine chairs that the butt storage is going into. I'm gonna end this episode of Hot News here. That was a lot. I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news, hopefully tomorrow.